Why do these guys look so damn miserable talking about self-improvement? It makes me wonder. Maybe they didn't actually improve themselves at all. So today we're going to be talking about self-improvement. Not that weird stuff that was touted as it. I just did that in my last video. This time we're talking about actual self-improvement, getting better in life and shit. Originally this video was going to be titled The Reality of Self-Improvement and have a much more darker tone to it. But when I look up videos with similar titles, I noticed that these guys wanted to demonize self-improvement. They wanted to make it seem like it was making people miserable and ruining their lives. When I think back on all the strides that I took since I was a teenager to becoming a more well-rounded and disciplined person, I'm astounded by the amount of progress I've made. I experienced tons of growth over my journey and I'm grateful for having gone through it. And then you see some of these guys just staring at you judgmentally while calling self-improvement a myth, a tragedy, ruination. And it makes you wonder whether or not they actually improved themselves. So instead of being a doomer, let's get based and I'll show you what a real self-improvement journey can look like. So it may be July right now, but we're going to go back to school. School is the proving ground for kids to develop autonomy and develop themselves physically, mentally, and socially. Dynamics are going to be quickly established and we can see the spectrum of who is predispositioned for greatness and who's likely to have a hard time and come out struggling. Now if you're at the top end of your peers, then you're probably going to be fine as long as you stick to your path and come out as a professional athlete, world leader, or an exceptional member of society. Then you have the average person, and their journey is as middle of the pack as it gets. They get through their classes, they have normal amounts of social interaction, they don't do anything extra to stand out, yet they'll get through the system, they'll find someone to date on their level and settle down with, they'll work a normal job, and basically they'll just live a normal life. Now let's talk about me. I wasn't born with the physical traits or talents to become a professional athlete, and I didn't challenge myself academically to become the next Albert Einstein. I'd say I was decently smart. I got good grades, and I excelled at games where I had to answer academic questions quickly. But I didn't get into any extracurriculars, I was socially avoidant, I garnered no dating experience, and I didn't put much effort into my appearance and body. I wasn't destined for greatness from the jump, so I just had basic aspirations. I'll just get through school, find a job, somehow get a girlfriend, and then I'll just go from there, right? But little did I know that while the average person was going through life checkpoints with no issue, I was coping and suppressing my deficiencies because I believed that when the time was right, it would be my turn and things would just happen for me, right? But what I was actually doing was falling beneath the curve. And when I actually tried to apply myself, I was sucker punched over and over again as my deficiencies were completely exposed. Get a girlfriend? Bruh, I couldn't even talk to a normal person, let alone girls. For me, this moment happened during college, but for most of y'all, I'm sure it's a familiar one. You'll reach this point where you realize you aren't as you are. People don't respect you. Girls don't like you. Your career options are limited. You thought you were normal, but it turns out this whole time, you were worse than that. You're a failure. And here you will reach a crossroads and you have some choices here. You can delude yourself entirely. Blame the world. Blame society. You weren't supposed to turn out like this, but just tell yourself it's not your fault. Get angry at anyone or anything but yourself. You can give up. You already failed, so why even bother trying? Just give up, coast through life, accomplish nothing, and die alone. These are paths I could have taken, and I had to face it. I was an incel. I didn't accomplish anything meaningful in life. I had this moment where I contemplated just ending things once and for all just to escape this misery. But there was one thing that stopped me from taking a low road. I was a rational thinker, and when I really thought about it, I was able to check myself. I didn't accomplish because I wasn't doing. My flaws were exposed and held me accountable, and instead of denying them, I had to accept them as things I needed to work on. This moment became the catalyst where I realized, okay, I really need to change now. I need to be better, and this is where the journey begins. For me, I started self-improvement with intentionality to correct my social ineptness and build strength. It was rehabilitation. I had to learn how to be socially normal. I started hyper-focusing on what I was doing during social interactions and correcting them to have more positive interactions. I was experimenting with different ways of presenting myself on dating apps and analyzing dates to figure out what I was doing right and pinpoint where I was going wrong so I could avoid repeating them. And this is where my true talents and strengths came through. My resourcefulness, my analytical skills, my ability to prepare, my open-mindedness, and my devotion to consistent efforts which built discipline. When I first started hitting the gym regularly, all I knew was bench press and bicep curls, but I started getting smarter with that too. I started figuring out what modalities worked what body parts and how to program my own routines. I saw people doing squats and deadlifts, and I decided to incorporate those movements for myself too. When I first started lifting, my form and numbers were garbage, but I knew that you had to start so you could see where you're at and then go from there. And as I was getting my reps in, I started incorporating intentionality. I wanted to train to become stronger and more muscular, so I took what I learned and created a program for myself. I tracked all of my numbers and knew exactly where my strength was at any time. I constantly pushed myself to test my limits and moved the goalposts whenever I surpassed them. Thanks to my efforts, I started making major breakthroughs in these areas that I used to severely lack in. I went from having no options to having days that went nowhere to getting lays on the regular. I watched people who were in the same gyms over the years making little to no progress, while I'm in there doubling, tripling, even quadrupling my numbers. And all of this progress pushed me to go even further beyond. Initially, I just wanted to be a bit better so I could have some chances to succeed and feel good about myself. But now, I wanted to see how far I could go and become the very best that I can. And by the end of it all, I went from a guy who wasn't bound for anything to overachieving tremendously. I had built a body that was stronger and better looking than 90% of people. I was a goddamn late bloomer, yet somehow I garnered an amount of dating experience that most people will never have in their lifetime. I went from being one of the most socially awkward people that I know to being able to talk to anyone over anything. And I had built enough value for myself to reach that elusive 10K a month that's being touted out there. And the beautiful part of it all is that I'm not even close to accomplishing everything that I want in this life. I still have goals. I still have things that I want to accomplish. And the journey is never ending. But I've overcome the worst of it. Compared to what most of these self-improvement guys are saying, a real self-improvement journey should be anything but tragic. Like, bruh, I wasn't bound for shit. No one had high expectations of me, and I was set to accomplish nothing. But I took it personally and changed all of that. I had to accept that I was an underdog, and I had to fight my way back to accomplishing normal things. And as I got to work, I built myself differently so well that I ended up surpassing my expectations. I overachieved. There were many points in my journey where if things went differently, I would become complacent and stop growing. The first girl I matched with on Tinder was seemingly a perfect match, and had I not messed that up, I probably would have never dived more into becoming a better dating option. I reached many different strength standards that I could have been happy with and stopped pushing for more, but why stop when there were still gains on the table? Self-improvement became my way of life. If there's anything that I could keep getting better at, then why wouldn't I want to keep going? This is what self-improvement should be. Real self-improvement. Not that cold shower plus meditation plus no fat bullcrap. It should be purposeful growth. Our bodies have so much potential for development, and the possibilities for human connection are endless if you can harness it. But for most of you guys, this is stuff that you're going to have to actually work on with intentionality. And I hope that my story can inspire some of y'all to not go looking for the negative downsides, but for the beautiful possibilities of bettering yourself. And that's it for now. If you're still here, I appreciate you as always, and you should like and subscribe if you're based. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts or questions, and if you're looking to join a community based on real self-improvement stuff, come join the Basecamp Discord. I have free guides and resources in there, as well as access to guys like myself who can give targeted advice for dating, fitness, fashion, and whatever else you need help with in life. If you're interested in getting fast-tracked with fitness or dating, you can apply for coaching down below. That's all for now. Stay based, and let's make self-improvement real again. Bye-bye!